Howdy y'all. So if somehow you hadn't heard, for the entry point anniversary, CISH'S released a new demo for a new game called Infiltration. And I tried it out, and I tried to search around for as much information as I could get. I spent hours trying to write down as much dialogue as I could find for specific reasons you'll hear about very soon. I'll link the game in the description, so please play that first before you watch this video if you care. If you don't, then stay here I guess. Trust me, I have nothing but praise for this game. But I will say this gameplay does seem a lot more like Hitman, and I haven't even seen that many Hitman clips. So that could be an inaccurate assessment, basically. And I'm not calling it an exact ripoff. I'm just saying, for comparison, it does seem a lot more like Hitman now, with the dialogue options, the talking stuff. I think the alert thing, I don't know. It's still unique, but it's definitely become a lot more like Hitman, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, it's like a stealth game. So, like, each game is going to be similar to some extent. And it's even got some parkour in the game, which can't really be heavily utilized yet. It is a demo, again. Remember, this mission might be completely different by the time we get the full game. So, there's parkour, which I'm sure can be used for some very neat things, and I'm excited to see what CISH decides to do with that. Don't mind the chirping, that's my pet bird on my shoulder. You can use it to go from the balcony to the third top floor if you want in the game. But yeah, anyways, if you decided not to play the demo, then basically there's like it's similar to entry point, but there's like a new gameplay, new different stuff, and you have one quick task to assassinate someone. I'm going to be talking a bit about the gameplay, which I just did, so that's out of the way, and also some possible lore and predictions, and also some news surrounding this game that some of you may have not heard, even if you have played the game. I was really drawn to some of the characters that we got to select from instantly, and at first, I was worried they would just be placeholders, and they might still be, but I've learned something else that, makes it seem like they might stay, or maybe it was just an Easter egg. I've put way too much thought into the 12 selectable characters. Like, even though they might not survive past the demo, I'm still going to talk about them. Because what really helps confirm that they might not just be just nobodies is that they have their own personality. There's dialogue that only a certain amount of them can say. They have specialized lines, which I suspected because I kept on... Oh my god, I did so many experiments with this game. I kept replaying it so much to see who was able to say what, and I noticed that certain characters would only say certain lines, and in Dart, one of the QAs confirmed that characters had their own dialogue. So, I did personality predictions, how I thought the character would act like just based off their pose from their selection screen, and then viewing their dialogue and see how they actually ended up acting. If you don't know what a QA is, they're basically someone who beta tests CISH'S games and also get to know some information ahead of time, but they take no part in the creation of the game itself. CISH does all the creating and coding and modeling, all that stuff. These people just play the game, test it out before it releases to the public, and also get to know some private information before anybody else. And speaking of which, a new QA has risen to the ranks. A lot of you may have heard of Spero, who is a YouTuber. If you don't recognize him, then you may know him from his giant lore video, which I'm sure some of you have watched. Yeah, he's a QA now, so congratulations to him on that. And speaking of him, he does have a podcast called Exit Point, which I will actually be appearing on this Sunday. Yeah, with not just him, but also the other QA, Dart, and another YouTube guy named Mr. Weeaboo, and CISH might even be in the chat to answer some questions. So if you care about this game at all, please come watch the podcast. It's gonna be lots of fun. But yeah, the selectable characters each have their own personality and voice lines from the way it seems. So I'm going to go ahead and say what I first thought the characters would be like, and if they matched up to my prediction. So first of all, the Mohawk Man. Just from first glance, he was instantly my favorite. Because first of all, punk style, awesome. And secondly, he was like waving at the camera. And he seemed very outgoing and bubbly and social. Which, for serious stealth stories like these, is very refreshing. These kind of characters tend to be just serious or just, like, chill and cool or something. But he's really outgoing. Like, Rose was, like, social and stuff too. But she was, like, very laid back and, like the chase, like the stuff, like the violence and stuff. Mohawk Man just really seems like extra out there, if you understand what I mean. So anyways, based off his dialogue, from what I played in the game, which I played all these characters over and over again to make sure to see what their personalities were like. Help me. So he does match my initial prediction, just maybe slightly more chill. It's really funny how his excuse for taking the vent instead of the door for the stairwell is that So when the coordinator, Crystal, that's their name, I'm not sure if they're about their gender yet, but when Crystal says, "So I'm honestly scared to ask, why use the vent and not the actual door?" he responds with, "Crystal, there's something I've learned over the years. You can never be 100% certain a door isn't rigged to explode." And that's just really funny to me. So the blonde guy, I instantly freaked out when I saw him because I was like, oh no, is that a himbo? And based off his dialogue, he's definitely pretentious and cocky, just maybe not stupid, which, that's fine too, but I really do hope that he's pretty but stupid, like a himbo character, because that would also just be hilarious. So my initial thoughts about the girl with the violet highlights was that she looked chill and calm and maybe a bit positive. And again, positive people are fairly unique for stories like this, so it would be greatly appreciated. And her design is amazing. And based off what I've seen, she seems just really chill and just go with the flowish, so kinda accurate. But the silver-haired man is where my accurate streak totally ends. I was completely wrong about him. Based off his pose and expression, I thought he would be like the innocent one, like similar to Dimitri. And his style choice, his design, it was definitely risky taking a design that unique. But honestly, I think it's good. I think it really makes him stand out. I like it. And it just made me really curious about him, because he just seemed like cute and innocent. And especially since he's, again, unique style choice, Hawaiian shirt, silver dyed hair, nerdy glasses. What do you think he was going for? I thought he was just going to be like this little guy, but I was completely wrong about that. He knows exactly what he's doing. At least he definitely likes to think he does. Based off his dialogue, he seems to like to take himself seriously and wants to be seen as competent, and he's also very snarky. They have a very serious and matter-of-fact or confident dialogue. He seems to hold himself in high regard, but isn't nearly as pretentious as the blonde man. I thought his pose on his character screen was more gentle and kind, but looking at what he says in his dialogue, I completely misread it. It seems more like he's just holding himself in high regard. Now, for the guy with the tuxedo and the brown fluffy hair, I had no idea what to think of him. Some of you might recognize as the male freelancer silhouette in the images that tend to be used for the freelancer. It's like a silhouette figure. There's two of them, a female one and a male one. And he seems to be the male one, just based off the hair. And I had no idea what to think of him because he seemed fairly neutral. I wasn't picking up any personality based off him. But I've fallen in love with him because of his voice lines. He does still seem fairly neutral and average, but he also kind of acts like a rookie. He's civil and clearly daunted when he hears how many guards he has to get through. And it's just kind of cute. It seems like he's still figuring things out. Maybe a never kind of Bean character? I really hope so. Between the more confident dialogue options, he always chooses the more neutral or unsure ones, which is something to take note of. Good lord, the guy with the really spiky hair and the tactical outfit also surprises me. My initial guess was that he seemed wary and just kinda there, like he was down for anything, like a less innocent Dimitri, just kinda vibing there, and I was way off. At first he just seems kinda neutral and, just there, like I said. But then when I killed the target, he said he never stood a chance out of nowhere. Like, good lord, that was not expected. He was quiet and normal, unsuspecting person. And then suddenly he's like, yes, I don't care that I killed somebody. It made me instantly fascinated with this. Just the idea of someone just kind of there, normal on the outside, and a serial killer on the inside. Like, at least with Ren, you instantly detect his cold energy right away. Not this guy, he's just completely unsuspecting. Now with the ginger girl who looks kind of like Nightshade. Okay, I already knew right away that she was gonna be serious, but oh my god. Like the last guy, it was just total whiplash. Because the moment we started the mission, and she was given her task and where to find her target, she was like, yeah, alright, let's kill him fast. I want this done. Like, good lord. So obviously she seems very serious and heartless, or at least has desensitized herself so much that she hardly cares that she's going to kill somebody, easily discarding them as though they were just an ant crawling in front of her. Especially when Loud is triggered, one of her lines is that just means a few more bodies, nothing to worry about. It's not like she's confident or pretentious like the blonde guy is. It's just like, she just knows for a fact that she can kill multiple people, like it's objective, and that's scary. She's scary. The girl with the lighter highlights and the brown hair has a super amazing design. She looks absolutely fantastic. She kind of looks like coffee. My initial guess is that she was perceptive and unique. And she does seem to be fairly reserved, but she still easily jokes around, as well as dropping one of my favorite quotes from any CISH game ever. When Crystal warns her that she is about to enter an area that civilians aren't allowed in, the brown highlights girl responds with, "But I'm not a civilian, I'm an assassin. Are assassins allowed here?" Just amazing. Imagine if I'm just totally overanalyzing and getting too attached to these characters who probably might not even survive past the demo. CISH, if you're somehow listening to this, I really, really hope at least some of these characters make it past the demo. Now, the girl with the sunglasses and the short, dark brown hair. My first guess was that she was just really focused and serious. And honestly, yeah, but not really serious. She just seems really reserved, and that's about it. There really isn't much more to say about her. Not that she isn't cool in her own rights, but the others pull my heartstrings way more than she does. But one interesting about her is that her uniform does look very, very similar to Steel Cove, which is definitely something to take note of. We're not even sure if this game still takes place in the same universe as Entry Point. It could be its own world entirely separate from the game. And it doesn't help that the support seems to have a similar personality to Spero and a similar text color. Dart himself, one of the QAs, even said, "Examine the text colors. What do you notice?" Now, to be fair, I take that with a grain of salt, because Dart likes to troll the community a bit, so this could just be kind of a troll. But if this person really is Spero, then that connects the Entry Point universes, especially since there's a line about hair, which does line up with her personality. If this universe and the Entry Point universe are still the same thing, then I just really hope that CISH finds a way to tie everything together well. CISH is an amazing storyteller. A unique storyteller because the story is secret, but they make a very good story. So if they are connected somehow, this person really is Spero, I'm sure CISH will find a way to make it work and interesting. So I'm always a bit wary about colliding two universes, because often writers and story creators make the mistake that making stuff, like for example, what if Mike, Spero's fiance, was a character here? A lot of writers make the mistake of thinking that makes the story deeper and well-connected and cooler, but it just makes it more shallow. Cause why? Really? It's just coincidence that Mike himself also happens to be working for a shadow civilization completely different from Spero's organization. I said civilization. Yeah, it wouldn't work for me. I'm sure CISH won't take that path, because again, they are great with stories. I just really hope it doesn't take that route. And if the universes are connected, I'm not saying it can't be good. Especially with CISH, CISH can execute stories very well. I'm sure it will be amazing. I still have high hopes for this. I'm just saying that if the universes really are connected, and the stories of these two worlds, are intertwined, then I hope it's done well. Now, the girl with the blue-black dreadlocks at first didn't even slightly interest me. Nothing popped out about her with her pose or design or anything until I started playing. When I got to see her whole design, suddenly the simplicity of it was very nice to look at. She just seems very casual and chill, like just completely vibing, based off her dialogue. I didn't have a guess for her personality at all, because I was not picking up anything from her at first glance. But now she intrigues me a bit more, and I'm sure something great will be done of her, if she does survive past the demo. So finally, the guy with the beard and the dusty colored hair, the last guy on the list. So he intrigued me right away because of his pose and expression. He looked so exasperated. My initial guess was that he'd be kind of like Jackdaw, being the brain cell of the group that stops the squad from dying. And I was kind of accurate. His voice lines are a bit conflicting, at least compared to other characters. They usually seem to be like strictly neutral, strictly confident, or strictly serious or something. But he rotates between both. At one point he said he just wanted to kill the guy and be done with, and then he said that this would be fun to do. He does still remind me of Jackdaw, who can be serious but can also still joke around. Though I would say the bearded guy is definitely far less grumpy than Jackdaw. He seems like he changes depending on his mood and just does what he needs to do. He also gives me the impression that he could mess crap up if he wanted to, since he does seem sure of himself. Not in an overly pretentious way, but also not in an objective way, like the ginger girl. Okay, I know I said he was the last one, but I just realized I accidentally skipped over a character on the list. So, the red girl. Her design is beautiful. She is beautiful. I love it. Which is shocking, because usually I'm not into ponytails at all. But the fact that it has like the red gradient, the dye, of the ponytail, just makes it so special, and I love it. And with that expression in her pose, it definitely seemed like she would be confident and maybe like a bimbo. Like, she's pretty and she knows it, and she wants it her way. And yeah, my guess was accurate. She's either willingly ignorant, and really playful, or she really is just straight up stupid. I really hope at least her or the blonde guy, at least one of them, ends up being attractive but stupid type of character. Because again, those are just really funny. So out of all the characters, the one that intrigued me the most are definitely the Mohawk man, the red ponytail girl, the silver-haired guy, and the blonde guy. Those are just because a lot of those are appealing to my personal interest, as you know. So I'm sure you could guess based off how much I gushed over their designs and how much I hoped that at least the red or the blonde girl would end up being stupid but pretty. The silver guy is more like the one that grew on me. He has a very unique design and a very unique personality. And out of all the characters, based off his personality, I can see the most being done with him. He feels like he has way more direction that you can go with him. And it's really unique and different, and I like it. So those four are probably the characters that all intrigue me the absolute most. And also something that's really intriguing, we have our first permanent NPC team. Like in the game, the security and entry point, the NPCs always were randomized. They would change everything. Their appearance would just change entirely. They were never the same person. They were never permanent. This is different. This could just be because there's a demo, but the guards stay the same the whole time. And it's even more than that. It's more than just that. The guards have names. When one of them finds another guard dead, they will call them by their name when talking into the radio. So far, we've discovered 4 names: Alex, Claire, Stanley, and Ben. Alex is the guy with the security card that you have to get. Claire is the girl guard on the first floor. Stanley has the black shaggy hair, the guard on the second floor. And Ben has the black charmer hair with the guard on the second floor. So, the security guys I haven't gotten to yet. It's difficult to knock one down without the other noticing, because it's the only way they'll say their names. And the guards on the top floor, they don't ever talk into the radio. The alarm just instantly raises if they find a body, so there's no way to find out their names. But we at least know 4 of them. And I'm wondering if it's just because this is a demo and CISH hasn't added the randomizing code, I guess, for NPCs, and just wanted something real quick. But I do really hope it's going to be permanent. I mean, not that it would really mean much, but it's still very, very interesting, and makes me wonder if anything is going to be done with the idea that we might have permanent NPCs now. So, as for Crystal, the coordinator, and you already heard my thoughts on the support, that they might be Spero. Now we're talking about Crystal, the coordinator. And in all honesty, I'm not really sure if I trust them. I don't know why. It's just kind of an intuitive thing. There isn't really much of a logical reason behind it, other than the fact that their text is kind of yellow, like Harvey's, but Harvey's text is a different color. It's like a duller, darker yellow. And plus, he's in jail or dead. This better not be Harvey, or I swear to God, I'm not gonna like that. And again, CISH is a good storyteller. The text color is still different, and Harvey is dead or in jail. I really do not think this is Harvey. I'm pretty sure Crystal's their own person. But I just don't trust them because my intuition said so. There's not much logic behind it, so you don't have to trust me, but I don't trust them. Now, I do have some predictions for how I believe the story's gonna go, what the story is so far. So, of course, there's Palisade, which it kind of seems to be like, maybe like the Steel Cove of this universe. Because it's definitely not another criminal organization, because it's stated that the building we're breaking into is government. So why would the government call on a criminal organization? So Palisade seems to be like Steel Cove in the fact that it's like a branch of it. It's a part of it, like their own individual army. And, yeah, the reason we're killing this guy is because of a client. It's like freelance stuff. The group has been hired to take down this government man. It doesn't seem to be like a political or personal motive. They're doing it solely because someone else wants them to, and they're getting paid for it. What's really interesting is that the support asks Crystal, like, why the client wants this guy dead, and Crystal says, the less you know about this client, the better. You're gonna have to trust me on that. So, there's something, like, really shady going on with this client, which, that could either be just some throwaway guy, like, throwaway character, like, just one job and that's it, or this client is gonna have a repeated presence throughout the story. It could honestly be either one. Also, just a note, I got all this dialogue from, writing it down. Like I said, I went through to explore as much dialogue as I could find. I don't have it all. I tried to get as much as I could, though. It is possible that I wrote it down wrong, and she might be talking about the person that we're trying to kill, not the client themselves. I try to double check. So again, because this is my own writing. I'm just echoing the dialogue based off what I've written down, and maybe I made a mistake somewhere. But I'm pretty sure it's about the client, but it could be about our target, and I misread it. So, there's that. I do suspect that maybe there's a possibility of the characters being sucked into some kind of unintentional war because of the assassination. Like, they picked on the wrong people, killing this guy. Or they're associated with the wrong person, taking on this client. Or it's just a random, or it's just a regular shadowy criminal organization. And this mission is just a one-off thing that won't contribute to further lore. But yeah, that's all of my thoughts on the gameplay, prediction, and the characters. I'm very excited to see where this goes. Very excited. I know CISH is a great developer and an even greater storyteller, so I'm excited to see how this all unfolds. And I really hope the selectable characters survive past the demo, and I did not just overanalyze all of them for absolutely no reason. See y'all.